Hello students, welcome to the English class. Today I am going to explain you the ninth chapter of your book Beehive, that is The Bond of Love, written by Kenneth Anderson. So first of all I would like to give you a brief introduction of the author, then we'll discuss the chapter. For this author, Kenneth Douglas Stewart Anderson he was born on 8th March 1910 and lived up till 30th August 1974, and was an Indian born Scottish hunter and author who wrote about his adventures in the jungles of South India. Although Kenneth was born in Bularam and came from the British family that settled in India for 6 generations, his father, Aryan Stewart Anderson, was the superintendent of the FCMA in Pune, Maharashtra, and dealt with the salaries paid to military personnel. And Douglas, like most of the British soldiers, took an interest in sport hunting and influenced Anderson's interest in the outdoors and hunting. Anderson went to Bishop Cotton's boys' school and also studied at St. Joseph's College, Bangalore. And he was sent to study law at Edinburgh, but he quit studies and returned to India. He worked for 15 years in the Posts and Telegraph Department and later worked at the British Aircraft Factory in Bangalore, later called as HAL, and he worked in the rank of factory manager for planning, and he owned nearly 200 acres of land across Karnataka. And about his family, so Anderson met Cheryl Majoy Blossom Minute Nee Fleming, who came from Sri Lanka, and her mother Millicent Townsend was a burgher, while her father Clifford Fleming was from Australia, and they both met at Bowring Club in Bangalore, and they married in April 1929 at Sore Culpet, Cuddalore. Then had a daughter named June. So this was about the author. Now we will discuss about the chapter. I'll give a brief introduction of this chapter, The Bond of Love. So this chapter, The Bond of Love, it is a very fascinating account of an orphaned sloth bear who was rescued by the author Kenneth Anderson and gifted to his wife as a pet. And this playful baby bear grew friendly not only with the people around him but also with the 2 Alsatian dogs in the family. The bear's intelligence, playful nature, memory, and sense of affection won everyone's heart, especially that of the author's wife. Now let us discuss a theme. What is the main theme of the story? What is the main message, or what is the main theme? Why? So the theme of the story, The Bond of Love, is that even wild animals like sloth bears have emotions, affection, and deep bonds. This is what the narrator is trying to say through this chapter. The story is developed around the concept that love is reciprocal. What is reciprocal? That means if you give love to anybody, you will receive love in return. So it is reciprocal. जैसा आप करोगे, आप दूसरों को प्यार देंगे तो आपको भी प्यार ही मिलेगा बदले में. So the same is the case with the animals also, as they also have emotions, affection, and deep bonds. This is what the author is trying to prove through this story of this baby bear named Bruno. And he wants to say that even animals respond sincerely to the affection and care shown to them by human beings. And in fact, the emotional bond that animals form is so strong that they do not easily forget those who care for and love them. This is the main theme of this story. Now we'll discuss the characters. The first main character is the author's wife, who is not given any name in the story, and is the caretaker of the sloth bear whom she names Bruno and later on affectionately calls him Baba. She is an embodiment of love, care, concern, consideration, and kindness. And she seems to be a great lover of animals, as is evident from the fact that she is extremely delighted when her husband gifts her a young cub of a sloth bear. And she is selfless and highly affectionate and take good care of the pet as if he were her own child. So she took care of that baby bear like her own child, and it is due to her love and care that the pet bear becomes a member of the family, and she calls him Baba which in Hindi means a young boy. And because of her affection, he that baby bear he becomes playful and fun loving. However, the narrator's wife is considerate and does not resent putting him in chains for the sake of the children of tenants, and she also agrees to have him sent to a zoo when he grows too big and unmanageable. So we are going to read the story and you're going to understand it after we'll read the story. The second character is Bruno. Bruno is the pet sloth bear in the author's home and is an affectionate, emotional, sensitive, and playful animal. And through him, the author reveals that animals are sensitive beings with emotions akin to human emotions. And once brought to the family and presented to the lady of the house as a pet, Bruno behaves like a member of the family with a specifically deep bond of love for the lady. So these are the two main characters of this story. So now we'll see to the chapter. So the chapter begins with this note that can there be love and friendship between human beings and wild animals? So it begins with this question. So the answer of this question we are going to get after we read the chapter. So then the writer says, let's read a fascinating account of an orphaned sloth bear that was rescued by the author. Sloth bears inhabit forested areas, including the tropical rainforests of India and grasslands at lower elevations. Sloth bears have very shaggy hair and long muzzles. Using their claws to dig, they can then use their lips to form a tube, which can go deep into the ground or into hard to reach areas like dead trees for their food. Their main food is termites. You can hear them stack up their food from several feet away. So this is the quality of the sloth bear. So this is a slight introduction of the sloth bear. What kind of bears are these sloth bears? So then now we'll begin with the reading and explanation of the chapter. So the first paragraph says, I will begin with Bruno, my wife's pet. Pet sloth bear. I got him for her by accident 2 years ago. We were passing through the sugarcane fields near Mysore. People were driving away the wild pigs from the fields by shooting at them. Some were shot and some escaped. We thought that everything was over when suddenly a black sloth bear came out, panting in the hot sun. So here the word panting means to take a deep breath, quick breaths, or to take a short, quick breaths. Panting means half an hour, what you call in Hindi. So in these lines, the narrator now is telling that how he got that sloth bear from the jungle, whose name he kept as Bruno. So now we are going to read. So in these lines, the narrator's wife, he got a pet sloth bear as a pet due to an accident. So how he got it? The narrator is just citing an incident. 2 years before the time when this story was written, the narrator and his friends were passing through sugarcane fields near Mysore, and farmers were driving out pigs from their fields by shooting at them. and as it was apparently over, suddenly a sloth bear appeared from the fields. It was breathing heavily due to running and the excessive heat. So now I will not shoot a bear wantonly. So these are the next lines. So in this line, the word wantonly means for no good reason. That means without any reason. Unfortunately for the poor beast, one of my companions did not feel that way about it and promptly shot the bear on the spot. So in these lines, the narrator says that he would never shoot at a bear without any reason, but one of his companions did so, and the bear was shot dead. And then further he says, as we reached the fallen animal, we were surprised to see that the black fur on its back moved and left the prostrate body. So here what do you mean by the word prostrate? Means lying on the ground, facing downwards. Then we saw it was a baby bear that had been riding on its mother's back when the sudden shot had killed her. The little creature ran around its prostrate parent, making a pitiful noise. So, in these lines, now the word prostrate means, as I told you, that it is lying on the ground facing downwards. So, the narrator says the animal, that is the bear, lay on the ground, but a part of its furry black body moved. And the mother bear was dead. The movement was of the baby bear that had been lying on the mother bear's back. Now that the mother bear was dead, the baby got up and ran around the mother's body crying. Then further the narrator says, I ran up to it to attempt a capture. It scooted means ran away into the sugarcane field. Following it with my companions, I was at last able to grab it by the scruff of its neck while it snapped and tried to scratch me with its long hooked claws. So here scruff of the neck means to take hold of the back of the neck or collar suddenly and roughly. So in these lines the narrator says, it is said that narrator he tried to catch the baby bear. The bear escaped from the sugarcane field and the group chased it, and finally the narrator caught hold of it from the back of its neck, and the bear tried to scratch them with its hook shaped claws. So it happens whenever you try to catch the animal, it runs off, it is scared. So the baby bear also, it was running, it was trying to protect himself, thinking that the men would kill him. So he was scratching the narrator with his hook shaped claws. Then further he says, we put it in one of the gunny bags we had bought, and when I got back to Bangalore, I duly presented it to my wife, and she was delighted. Delighted means happy. She at once put a colored ribbon around its neck, and after discovering the cub was a boy, she christened it Bruno. Christened means named it. She kept the name of that bear as Bruno. So in these lines it is said that the group stuffed the bear in a gunny bag. That means the narrator along with his friends, they just put the baby bear in the gunny bag, that is the जिसको आप बोरा बोलते हैं, and took it to Bangalore. Present day it is called as Bangalore. So the narrator now gifted that baby bear to his wife, the cub of the bear to his wife, and getting that baby bear, she was very happy to have it. And quickly, what she did, she tied a colored ribbon around its neck. As it was a male cub, so she named the little bear cub as Bruno. Then further, we'll read. The next paragraph says, Bruno soon took to drinking milk from a bottle. It was but a step further, and within a very few days he started eating and drinking everything else. And everything is the right word, for he ate porridge made from any ingredients, vegetables, fruits, nuts, meat, especially pork, curry and rice, regardless of condiments and chilies, bread, eggs, chocolates, What are condiments here? Condiments are the spices. He also ate sweets, puddings, ice cream, etc., etc., etc. As for drink, milk, tea, coffee, lime juice, aerated water, buttermilk, beer, alcoholic liquor, and in fact anything liquid, it all went down with relish. So, here in these lines now, the word relish means great enjoyment. So, it is said that the bear drank milk from a bottle as it was small, so it started drinking milk from a bottle, and after a few days it started drinking and eating many things, almost everything and anything that he got. The bear enjoyed eating and drinking very much, so the bear became very attached to our two Alsatian dogs. Means these were the two pets that the narrator had. They had two Alsatian dogs, so the bear, he was very close to these dogs also, got friendly with these dogs and to all the children of the tenants living in our bungalow. So they had the tenants, किराएदार जिनको बोलते हैं, वो भी रह रहे थे, तो उन सब बच्चों से भी वो फ्रेंडली हो गया. Then he was left quite free in his younger days and spent his time in playing, running into the kitchen and going to sleep in our beds. That means now the bear became very friendly with the narrator's Alsatian dogs and also with the children of their tenants Kiraidar who lived in the narrator's bungalow. And as the bear was left free, it played, ran around the house, and even it slept in the narrator's bed. Then further, the next paragraph says, one day, an accident befell him. I put down poison, that is barium carbonate, to kill the rats and mice that had got into my library. And Bruno entered the library as he often did, and he ate some of the poison. Paralysis set in to the extent that he could not stand on his feet, but he dragged himself on his stumps to my wife, who called me. I guessed what had happened. Off I rush in the car to the vet's residence. A case of poisoning, tame bear, barium carbonate. What to do? So in these lines it is said that accidentally Bruno drank the poison kept in the library to kill rats. As I told you that Bruno ate and drank everything he got. So, and as the bottle was kept in the library because the author had kept the poison for the rats because there were many rats in the library. So he wanted to get rid of those rats. So for that he kept barium carbonate in the library in the bottle. So Bruno, he drank that poison that was kept to kill the rats, and after drinking it he was paralyzed and could not stand on its feet. And as it reached the narrator's wife, she called him and he realized what had happened. And then the narrator took Bruno to a veterinary doctor. It was a case of poison now. Then further, the next paragraph says, out came his medical books and a feverish reference to index began. What poison did you say, sir? Barium carbonate? Ah, yes, barium salts. Ah, barium carbonate, symptoms, paralysis, treatment, injection of. Just a minute, sir. I'll bring my syringe and the medicine. A dash back to the car, Bruno still floundering means struggling to move, about on his stumps, but clearly weakening rapidly. Some vomiting, heavy breathing, and heaving flanks and gaping mouth. That means heaving is to take deep breaths, and flanks are the side of the body between the ribs and hips, and gaping is wide open. So it is in these lines it is said that the doctor took out his medical books and searched the index for poisoning by barium carbonate. He first studied that what should be given to clear that barium carbonate, to remove that to remove the effect or to nullify the effect of that barium carbonate. How to save the bear? So he took out a syringe and the medicine. Bruno was struggling to move. He was vomiting, breathing heavily, and his mouth was open. So then, now we'll see in the next class further that what happens to Bruno, whether he survives or he dies.